The prophet Isaiah alone refers to it as the judgment day or the day of vengeance approximately 56 times. Because when the Lord comes, he will put a complete stop to the rule, madness, and reign of the New World Order and Satan's kingdom on earth, and according to the prophet Daniel, he's going to smash it with an iron fist. In other words, he is going to completely destroy this last day's empire and global government and all those involved with it, including their armies and even the people of the world who joined this beast kingdom on earth. But how can we know this time is near? The Lord gave us several things to watch for so that we could recognize the times we are in, if the times we are in will be indeed the time of his return. And over the centuries, his people have watched and waited to see if he would return during their time. Of course, we know without a doubt that if he was going to return in any century now, it would definitely be this one. I mean, even back in World War II, it wasn't possible to be able to destroy the entire world with the known weapons of that time. And of course, we know that during the last days, when he returns, the world had the capability of completely destroying itself. And so that's one of the things. And also, if you look at just all the other markings and signs of the last days generation, and I'm not going to get into all those tonight, I'm not going to get into it tonight, but I think you can look around you and tell that this definitely is the time, or a time, where he could return. We have all the capabilities mentioned that the Apostle John saw in forewarning of the generation when the Lord would return. And you can look around you, and you can see the government already doing all of these things that the Lord warned about: a global one world government, a global one world religion, and we see that with the ecumenical councils, all of our supposed church leaders going onto this unification kick, everybody uniting and becoming one. And you know what? Jesus never came and told us to unite and be in unity, because his word is not for compromise. He brings a sword, not peace. Yeah.
You have a caller?
All right, go ahead and bring him on.
You're up, caller.
Hey, Sherry, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great, Sorry to hear about your cold. I hope you feel better.
Oh, thanks.
Just wanted to say thank you for your selfless and wonderful job you've been doing. It's just been great, and we're really blessed as a nation to have you.
Oh, thank you. You know, I just, everything I do is just to serve him.
I called tonight because something on my heart that's really bothering me about what's going on with the Illuminati, New World Order freaks.
Can you speak up a little bit?
How's this?
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, I was hoping to share some information with your audience briefly about a subject that I know you're familiar with, but one I think many of the American people are almost oblivious to. And basically, it's just the Illuminati and their order out of chaos scenarios, problem, reaction, solution.
Yep.
You know, we all know Katrina was caused by HAARP,
yep.
But the goal was much more than simply to clear out a city. One of the goals of the New World Order freaks is to start their new campaign, a race war in the country. And I've been realizing it the last few weeks, almost a month before Katrina, and it's been ramped up big time since Katrina. And it's geared in both areas, because people on the right and people on the left, especially a lot on the left, think they're doing good and don't realize that they're playing into the hands of the Illuminati. They don't even realize that they work for them, because they're just clueless. Some do know, and others are clueless. And what I'm basically asking the American people to do, white, black, whatever race they may be, is don't fall for it, because basically it's a divide and conquer strategy. They don't want us to be together, and it's simple, and what they're doing is actually pretty brilliant, because it's a simple strategy, because all they're doing is they're just exploiting a problem that already exists and magnifying it. We know that, there's race relations aren't the greatest. They haven't been for 400 years, and they're not getting any better. And there's definitely a problem between blacks and whites. We know that. Surprise, surprise.
You know what? The hurricane was in Louisiana, so why do we have armed Mexican convoys in Texas? Why are there Chinese helicopters in New Mexico? You know what? You're hearing and seeing pictures of all this stuff. The hurricane was in Louisiana, nowhere else in the country.
Yeah.
And so why are all these foreign soldiers coming in? And people are going to sleep. They're not asking questions. And then when they see it going down their hometown, they get angry. And of course the press isn't covering it. The media is not going to tell people what's really going on. And, you know, it's like I told my husband yesterday. I said, you'll see soldiers in your backyard before you'll ever hear about it on your media, on the media.
Totally.
I mean, they'll be hauling people off to these camps and imprisoning them before you'll ever hear a word of it on TV.
No, it's true. Totally true. That's why I came on tonight, you know, for the few people, you know, not few, there's quite a few listen to your, you know, program, but I'm saying in relation to the rest of the nation, just so that they can get the word out to people not to fall for it, because I know things aren't perfect for black people. I know things aren't perfect, you know, for white people, or, you know, if you're Hispanic or whatever the situation may be, but falling for the hatred, falling for saying, okay, well, black people are committing all the crime. Okay, white people are keeping black people down. Okay, everybody hates Hispanic. You see, it's just they're just trying to create chaos. And if we know ahead of time and realize what they're doing, we can say, look, what I'm going to do individually is concentrate on love rather than hate.
Yeah, because
there's problems, but I'm not going to fall into it.
It was one of their, even on their own play board, game board, the cause of civil war here in America between the have-nots and the haves,
exactly.
Or between the blacks and the whites.
Exactly.
And that's why they're making it such a racial thing, because there was plenty of white, poor people down there. And I'll tell you what, most of America is poor America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, I saw a picture online on the internet, and it was two pictures, and one was a black man. They just said he had stuff in his hands. He was just found looting Walmart. And then they showed this other picture of a white couple. They found food and water in a local store.
Right, they found it, yeah.
And so what they're trying to do is really foment a civil racial war out of the whole thing.
Hatred, exactly.
And that's what I say. Don't fall for it. Because you know what, Matthew 24, and I'm getting into it tonight, it says nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. That nation against nation is peoples against peoples. That's a race war.
And exactly, I only wrote up because I heard it on every station practically talk show, you know, and left and right. You have to stop
listening to CNN because they're the ones really pushing, getting people angry.
Right.
They're really trying to push the buttons and causing people to get out in the streets and protest. So you have to be really careful about who and even you watch, because they're the ones working for the government.
That's true. But the biggest thing I see is that what's so difficult is that most people are oblivious. They don't, at this late stage, like you said, 6 months before chaos, people are still like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, people are still playing the right-left game.
I know.
They're oblivious to the fact that it's all one.
You know, one thing they can't count on is they're so sold out to Satan, they have no emotions. And so that might be affecting 10% of them, the ones working for the government that are sold out to Satan. But I'll tell you what, there's nobody else that I know of that can watch those images on TV, and it doesn't matter what color you are. Your heart just breaks for these people. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Color has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. People cry watching this stuff on television.
Definitely.
You know, and so they're trying to turn this whole thing into a racial thing. And I say for the majority of Americans, it's just not a racial thing at all. Americans love each other. They love Americans. And it's the government trying to push this strife thing, this racial war thing. You know, it just angers me. I know plenty of people in shelters run by whites taking in all these blacks. So you know what? I hate the racial crap. And it's the government that does it.
Yeah,
it's the government.
Like you said, they're fermenting it. And
another thing is they're trying to say that all these people in jail that were released, they're the fault, they're the cause of the shootings and the shootings down there. How do people in jail get a hold of an AK-47? You know what I'm saying? You know what? Most Americans can't even get a hold of AK-47s, but you know who's loaded with them? The CIA. I think the government's down there. They're the ones taking the pot shots at the recovery because they have to cause a problem. Of, oh, we've got shooters down here shooting at people, so then what's the solution?